guys? Welcome back to SDG. Not have a lure build today. We're actually building something that may help you make lures in the future, especially if you are a lead pouring, jig making guy. Not just buying the jig heads already done and painted, but pouring your own lead, powder painting, the whole 9 yards. So what are we doing today? We're going to make some DIY jig racks. So for those that may not know what a jig rack is, what I just showed you in the intro, it's this guy right here. So it's just two pieces of aluminum, angle aluminum, and then some silicone, high heat silicone right through the middle. You put your hooks down inside, and then you can bake it in the oven, hooks standing up. So why would you need that? Let's talk about it for a second. So a couple different reasons why you would need a jig rack versus, first say, this is the rack that goes in my oven, versus just hanging them off the bottom and letting them hang, right? So here's a finished head. As opposed to that, why would you want to put them in a rack like that? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, even if you're using a powder, or even if you're using a fluid bed, there's times when we get too much paint on the jig head. And what happens when that takes place is that thicker paint will find its lowest point, and it'll droop all the way down and sag, and you'll get a bump right here on the bottom. And maybe that's okay with you. I obviously sell lures, and that's an imperfection that I'm not going to pass on to a customer. So I need a solution that kind of safeguards myself, unless I'm absolutely sure, and I'll go ahead and hang them. But every now and then, you know, we make mistakes, and we get a little bit too much paint on there, and it causes it to droop and sag. So that's one. Two, certain powder paints are notorious for this. I'm thinking of anything with pearl, so pearl white or pearl whatever, and especially just white in general. For whatever reason, those colors are heavier, and if you hang them, in my experience anyway, if I hang them, even if I powder paint or fluid bed paint them, if I hang them, oftentimes I'll get a droop at the bottom. And like I said, it basically ruins the jig. So the third reason is sometimes you're making big stuff. So when you put your rack in the oven, there's not enough space for it to hang low enough and be able to cure properly. And you need to put the rack in the bottom section. Mine has 2 levels, and then stand it up, and there's plenty of room. In order to do that, you need a jig rack. So you can buy them, right? You can get online, buy a jig rack. Some of them are pretty pricey, or you can just make them yourself. And that's what I did. I made 4 of them already. See them there. But my oven has this little indentation here. So while I've already got probably as many as I need, you can see I have space for 1 more. So the numbers work out for you. If you wanted to make some of these, you'll get a 72-inch piece of angle iron from Lowe's or wherever. We'll talk about the specific pieces here in a minute. And if you cut it into, you can get 2 8-inch, that's what these are, 8-inch, and then 2 9-inch. And that would give you just a little bit more room to maximize that little bump if your oven is similar. What do you need to do this? Well, we got to be safe first and foremost. So make sure you get some glasses. We're going to be cutting aluminum, so make sure you have some gloves so you don't cut your hands. Beyond that, you're going to need a drill. I've got a 1/4-inch drill bit in this guy. Going to need an X-Acto knife of some sort, or a razor blade. We'll need 2 or 3 of these little clamps, so make sure you have some of those or something similar. We'll need a Sharpie to mark off our measurements. A tape measure to get our 8 inches, our 9 inches, whatever. I'm going to be cutting the aluminum with Sawzall. You can cut it with whatever you choose. And for the actual materials themselves, I'll put up a link or a picture of what I bought or at Lowe's. But it is 1/16 times 3/4. So 1/16 times 3/4 angle aluminum seemed perfect. This is just a 3-foot piece. As I mentioned, you want a 6-foot piece, 72 inches, if you're going to make a bunch of them. 1/4, 20, 1-inch stainless steel screws. and then 1/4 20 wing nuts. And I will say wing nuts, you'll see why in a little bit. There was a surprise benefit to these that I didn't realize until after the fact, so hang with me until then. Lastly, the silicone, right? So I got this on Amazon. I'll provide an affiliate link down in the description so you can go find it. It comes in 2 packs. So I already cut up the one, but this is going to be mine for today. It's about 15, 16 bucks, something like that. High heat silicone pad. We're going to cut up this aluminum in 8-inch pieces. Actually, I'm going to do a 9-inch piece today and walk right through the process, and then by the time it's all said and done, you guys can replicate it, have your own jig racks for whenever you want to use them. So let's jump in. All right, so let's get our measurements down for our angle aluminum. I forgot to mention it's good to have a 1x6 or some sort of piece of wood. That's obviously thicker than a 3/4 inch. For various reasons, it just makes things a little bit easier. So let me measure out 9 inches, actually 18 inches total, right? Because I need 2 of these if I'm going to make one rack, one for each side. So mark that at 9. And then mark the other one at 18. So we need to cut here. I don't want metal shavings all over the shop. Folks walk through with bare feet, so I'm going to actually head outside and cut this outside. Alright, we're back in the shop from outside. Lure making, I think I do okay on. Working with power tools, a handyman, I am not. Jeez. Sloppy cut. You probably want to get a file as well, just so you can file down. That's why I still have my Michael Jackson single glove on. Probably want to file down these edges just to make sure there's no sharp burrs and things like that for future use. Alright, here we go. Took off all the rough edges, nice and safe to be using now. Took off the gloves. Next step is to cut our silicone. And this is super simple. All we're going to do is put this guy on there because it's going to go along the back, right? These two are going to come together like that. So we want silicone to be on the inside on both sides. So we need 2 pieces of silicone cut to size. Just going to put that down. Grab the old X-Acto knife. We'll start on this end. Just hold it down and cut right along. Oh my goodness. That's that's pretty bad, even for my standards. How about we try it again? Yeah, much cleaner. So now we've got our 2 pieces that will sit on the inside. And just like that, right? Just like that. So now we need, I considered high heat glue or even RTV to glue this stuff or adhere it to each side. It's not necessary. So going back to my design here, this stuff is loose on the inside. All you need to do is put 3 holes in it and then seal that up, and as long as the holes go through the silicone as well, it keeps it in place, no problem at all. So let's get the holes drilled, but a quick note about that. Alright, so we're going to drill our holes. Here's the thing I was going to say. I totally got lucky when I did this the first time. My lack of skills any other time would have hosed me, but as you can see, the head is right down on the bottom. I almost put this hole too close to the underside, right there in that corner, to where the screw head wouldn't have been able to go through straight. So when you do it, don't get lucky like me. Make sure that you put it up a little bit, or even, you know, on the upper side of the middle. So that's what I'm going to do with my new one. This is also where this wood comes in really handy. Just like when I was outside cutting it, you can put it right on the edge and drill straight into the wood so that it doesn't bend the aluminum. It's real easy, thin stuff, easy to bend. Alright, so we got our 3 holes drilled. Do not, I repeat, do not do what I almost did at this point the first time I made these. And that was this. Oh, all I need to do, Adam, is just put this right here and then just drill it right through. Yeah, oh, that's bad, baby. No, that's a bad idea. And you can see why. Because obviously it sits on it, so the other one's a little bit higher. So then when you go to marry them up, it's going to be off, right? It's going to be off. So we don't want to do that. We actually want to clamp them together, just like that, so they're flat, right? Put them on our handy dandy board, clamp them together, go back to our Sharpie, and just mark those holes. I'm telling you, those are the stupid mistakes that I make all the time because I just not mechanically minded. Now, see, we got our little marks, and let's drill them out. Here we go. So we're going to take these 2, let's test fit them, see how close I got. Hey, not bad. You can actually see through it. So now all we need to do is take our silicone. I don't know that it matters, shiny side or dull side in. I put the dull side on the inside and shiny side towards the metal. So, shiny, shiny. Just like that. We're going to go back to our clamps and clamp these guys down. Alright. So that's it right there. Now we're just going to drill right through our silicone. Make sure that it's on the bottom. You know, if it comes up a little bit from my wonky cut, what are you going to do? Alright guys, we're almost there. Almost a finished product. Got a little bit left to do. Put the screws in, and let's talk about the wing nuts. Why those are a benefit to this design. The reason I like the wing nuts is because I can tighten and loosen this thing with just a screwdriver once the wing nut is on. Because, as you can tell, when you go to put the wing nut on, it won't spin. You could put a regular nut on there and it would spin, but the wing hits the bottom of this. But I actually think that's a benefit, because when it hits the bottom of it, it keeps it from moving, locks it in place, and all you got to do is take a screwdriver, as opposed to, you know, some pliers or a wrench on this side and a screwdriver to be able to move it in and out. This one is basically locks it in place for you, like you've already got a pair of pliers or wrench on the one side, so you can do all that you need to do when you actually put the jigs in it from just the screw side. So that's what we're going to do. Get them in place. And hit it. Just like that, see? Sinks right up. Bingo, bango, bongo. We have ourselves a jig rack. I'll repeat that as many times as you want for as many racks as you need, and boom, you are in business. Let me show you how to load this now with some jigs. Just going to loosen it just a bit. Got some Midwest finesse heads, little 1/4 ounce Midwest finesse heads on some VMC 2/0 Barbarian hooks, and all you got to do, slide them right in between of the silicone. like that. If you don't loosen this up too much, you'll actually be able to have the resistance. Just hold it right up there for you. You can actually push them all the way down, like that's hitting my workbench, or you can keep them up, whatever you need to do. And of course, these jig heads aren't quite ready to go into the oven, but that's how you would load it, with as many as you got. And there you go. These still have the heat shrink wrap or heat shrink tubing on them. I gotta pull off before I put them in the oven, but you get the idea, right? And then they would sit right on the rack like that. If I got any extra paint, the paint would just come right down the shaft, and I'd be able to either cut it off or cover it up. Either way, super simple. All right, guys, there you go. I hope you enjoyed today's video. A little different, back in the shop, doing stuff that I'm not all that great at, but I think this turned out all right. Hopefully this helps you guys out. Hopefully you enjoyed the ride. You didn't laugh too hard at my lack of handyman skills, but hey, it is what it is. You embrace who you are. If you did enjoy today's video and you want to see more just like it, or maybe even some lure making videos, well then check out this video right here. If you're curious why I call the channel what I call it, then check out this video right here. Otherwise, until the next time, gentlemen and ladies, I'll see you at the vise.